Met deze parachutisten nemen wij een duik in het geheimzinnige oerwoud van Afrika. We gaan op zoek naar de verloren stad Zinj, waar volgens aloude traditie de diamantmijnen van koning Salomon zouden zijn. We doen dat in het gezelschap van Laura Linney en Joe Don Baker, die de diamantexpeditie uitsturen. Daarnaast zijn er Dylan Walsh en Grant Heslov. Zij geven gestalte aan het team zoologen die gorilla Amy terug in haar natuurlijke omgeving willen brengen. Die Amy bezit echter het geheim van de verloren stad. Dus is het gorillawijfje van onschatbare waarde voor de avonturiers die uit zijn op de diamanten van koning Salomon. Regisseur Frank Marshall is erin geslaagd om door een verrassende combinatie van reële beelden en ingewikkelde computerprogramma's de bestseller van Michael Crichton op een schitterende manier in beeld te brengen. En dat was geen sinecure. In Congo overtreft de auteur van onder andere Jurassic Park immers zichzelf.
Well, I look at this movie as a big wide canvas that's painted across the entire landscape of not only being in a city and being in technology, but being out here in nature in the jungle. So it's a huge canvas with a lot of different characters, an ensemble piece, a lot of different technology, excitement, thrills, chills, suspense, action. It's got everything.
We've got her sedated. She's gonna be fine.
She's not gonna be fine. Nightmares again. It's happened before. Gorillas in captivity, degenerating mentally, having to be destroyed. When she did these paintings, she got better. Why? Hey. What's this room starting to look like? It's the jungle. She's been painting the jungle.
I don't know, Peter.
She wants to go home. She's having nightmares. And, she's trying to tell me what it's about, but I can't quite tell. It's not making a lot of sense. Something about an oval eye, a lot of green, and I'm thinking that maybe she wants to go back to the jungle, which is where she came from. So I decided it's time to take her home. So really, at the beginning of the movie, I'm getting together this expedition to take Amy back home, which is the Congo.
Hakama Hamilka, right?
Yes, hi, hello.
You're not looking for Solomon City again, are you?
What are you talking about?
Mr. Hamilka here was part of a disastrous expedition about, what, 5 years ago?
Please, I would prefer you not to...
They were looking for a city called Zinj. Unfortunately, it doesn't exist.
It does exist.
Fine. 3 members of the safari died from exposure. The 4th was shot by we don't know who.
It was an appalling suicide.
We won't quibble. And Mr. Hamilka here had to be carried out of the jungle by, as I remember it, me.
I knew he wasn't a Romanian philanthropist.
Oh, he's a Romanian. And he has done a lot of good, but mostly for Mr. Hamilka.
Shut up, you filthy...
Filthy what?
Well, this is an ensemble story where we have 4 or 5 different characters thrown together in an unusual situation. Karen Ross is on a personal mission to find out whether her fiancé is still alive.
2 men are unaccounted for, Jeffrey Weems and Charles Travis, my fiancé.
Peter Elliott wants to take Amy, his gorilla, home, and he wants to reintroduce her to the jungle.
Somewhere the other side of this mountain. It's where Amy was born.
Mr. Hamilka is on a very selfish journey. He knows that there is this legend about the lost diamonds of King Solomon's mines.
We shall arrive there together. We shall all be rich.
And then, of course, there's Monroe, who's just a mercenary who's going along because he's getting paid.
Monroe Kelly. I'm your great white hunter for this trip, though I happen to be black.
They all have a different agenda, but they have to pull together to survive.
Eeuwenlang gingen westerse ontdekkingsreizigers op zoek naar de bronnen van de Congo. Velen verdwenen zonder een spoor na te laten. Een eeuw geleden duurde een trip naar de bronnen van de Congo-stroom zowat 1 jaar. Vandaag duurt dezelfde reis minder dan een week.
The big difference is technology.
Gives our latitude and longitude.
There is more ability to get much closer to the heart of the Congo very quickly. The equipment is so much lighter, from things as small as air conditioners for your tents.
Air conditioners?
Well, I suppose it is a bit much.
Well, I'll take one.
To things as big as having an electronic guard perimeter to keep creatures from walking into your camp at night and wreaking havoc. Now you can make an expedition with a dozen people, whereas before it might take as much as 150.
Well, the movie takes on its own feeling of being an expedition. We're hand-carrying the stuff in, up the hills, and into the jungle. You are living in what I call battle conditions. It's not all the comforts of home. And all of this is part of the complicated logistics of putting a movie on in the middle of the jungle.
As a young man, I found a book in Soviet Georgia. It contained a detailed drawing of the city of Zinj. The drawing contained a peculiar decoration, an open eye. Later, on safari, I found this. It's the same symbol. Now, look at this. The gorilla drew this. It is the same image. It is the open eye. That gorilla has seen the city of Zinj. And she will take us there.
One of the major themes in the movie is communication. And one of the things that's actually real is this virtual reality glove that we've given to Amy to wear.
How old are you?
Amy, 7.
It has little sensors on it, and it picks up the movements that her hand will make when she does the sign language. And then a voice is activated, so that she's essentially talking.
In de film speelt de technologie van de communicatie een sleutelrol.
This is Travicom, which is an enormous corporation which buys and sells information with a kind of a specialty in telecommunications. Karen Ross.
Het communicatiesysteem dat gebruikt wordt bij Travicom is gebaseerd op verschillende bestaande systemen.
This is actual footage from the Space Shuttle Endeavour that was shot specifically to map out the geographical region of the Virunga volcanoes where the real mountain gorillas live.
Een ander systeem dat gebruikt wordt door het productieteam is het Global Positioning Satellite Network, dat op elk moment de juiste positie van welk onderdeel ook kan geven.
We see Karen Ross pushing this button, locking the thing into satellites, and it'll tell her exact coordinates and position of where she is. We're using that very device on this film for lighting. We use it to predict sunrise and sunset and the exact location of the sun.
Good, okay.
But having this really is a great addition to the cinematographer's arsenal, being able to predict what's going to happen.
81452, that is KR. 81452, Houston, Travis, do you read?
I read and see you, Dr. Ross.
So we're using all this high-tech equipment to solve this mystery of the ages, which is where are these lost diamonds of the city of Zinj.
What is this?
It is the city of Zinj that I have looked for all my life.
Heel wat generaties werden aangetrokken door de lokroep van mogelijk fortuin die uitging van de verloren stad. Doorheen alle eeuwen gingen avonturiers over heel de wereld op zoek naar plekken als Atlantis, El Dorado en in Afrika de mijnen van koning Salomon.
There actually was described in many ancient manuscripts the existence of a city founded by King Solomon for the purpose of mining wealth, specifically diamonds, and that it was called Zinj.
Zinj has been so thoroughly hidden for so long in a part of the jungle that's been pretty much impenetrable. It's pretty astonishing looking.
People have tried to find it, and I don't believe anybody ever has.
Om Zinj te maken bouwden de filmmakers een indrukwekkend oerwoud op in dezelfde geluiddichte studio waar ruim 15 jaar geleden het decor voor onder andere The Wizard of Oz werd uitgewerkt.
We designed it in a way that we could make it look like these trees all rise up hundreds of feet in the air and cover this with a canopy. And that's the reason, obviously, that no one has ever seen it, because it's covered by these trees. Now, the reason we did it on a stage like this is if we did it in a real jungle with a real canopy, you couldn't get any light in.
First, they found the diamonds. Solomon's men. A diamond mine of incredible bounty. Then they built the city around the mine so that it should be protected. The savagery of the guards was a legend. They instantly fell upon any thief, any transgressor. And the diamonds flowed to the kingdom of Solomon.
Well, what happened? Why did the city die?
I don't know.
Maybe the mines ran dry.
No, no! The diamonds are here!
Decorontwerper J. Michael Ripa baseerde het uitzicht van Zinj op een aantal antieke architecturale modellen.
We had to create a legend, which is far more difficult than one would imagine. It has a lot of Egyptian influence, it has a lot of Mesopotamian influence, but it basically did start with Angkor Wat in Cambodia.
Dit tempelcomplex in Cambodja werd in 1860 ontdekt door Franse ontdekkingsreizigers. Dat was meer dan 1000 jaar nadat het op geheimzinnige wijze verdween.
It wasn't so much the architecture which impressed me, it was how the jungle had grown up around it and it had incorporated it.
Behalve de flora moest ook de fauna van het oerwoud op de set worden gebracht. Daarvoor werd een beroep gedaan op Jules Sylvester. Die zorgde voor een race gevaarlijke diersoorten.
If you don't like bugs and snakes, this is the room from hell. My job is to keep the jungle alive. I have stuff like this. These are the very large hissing cockroach. If you don't like cockroaches, this thing is somebody's worst nightmare. I'm going to be putting stuff like that. These are millipedes. I have half a dozen of those or so. They'll be on the buildings. That's pretty standard. Woolly boogers crawling all over buildings. I've got a bucket full of giant maggots that I dug out of the manure pile up the back here yesterday. You stick them in the eyeball up the nose of a dead guy, and it's like they crawl around, and you'll leave the seat. That's it. I love this stuff.
The same hieroglyphics over and over.
What do they say?
We are watching you.
There's a big surprise waiting for them. Everything is not dead in Zinj.
What are all those holes?
The holes are moving.
There have been, in the past, animals that were bred for their ferocity, for the purpose of being guards of some kind.
The savagery of the guards was a legend. They instantly fell upon any thief, any transgressor.
They had been educated to something darker and more violent.
What is it?
It's an unknown species that protect the mines, and the real reason why it's become legend. No one's ever lived long enough to talk about it.
Are you sufficiently armed?
Yes.
I don't see anything.
Put that out.
They're testing their perimeter.
How intelligent are they?
Gorillas are very smart, but they're not aggressive. These things are very aggressive.
I'd say they're smart. They're too damn smart. They're out there. But what are they doing?
Monroe?
In de film zelf gebruiken de personages geavanceerde technologie om hun einddoel te bereiken. Die technologie wordt ook achter de schermen gebruikt om natuurlijke beelden te creëren. Daarvoor werd de hulp ingeroepen van Industrial Light and Magic, specialisten op het gebied van special effects.
ILM is, as usual, doing some things they've never done before, which is creating a gigantic volcanic eruption and lava flow that are actually coming through our sets.